So, uh, as soon as this child comes into the world, they are experiencing the dynamics of the family, whether they are the firstborn or the seventh born. And it is clear to an infant early on that they need to be fed. They don't like this wet diaper and they are sleepy. And so they are making noises so that somebody who's around can give them assistance. Well, you, as their mom, typically the one who is going to respond, because for heaven's sakes, you just carried this child for 9 months at least, or maybe less, depending on the scenario. And your body is literally designed and started to prepare for the reality that you yourself would be feeding this child. And so you're already in the position, uh, for several reasons, but physiologically, you're in the position to be the main nurturer for your child. Yes, husbands, fathers matter and they have their role to play. They are necessary because, as I said earlier, if too much of the responsibility is falling on one person, then that person now is out of balance in their ability to be able to meet the needs of those in the home. And so when it comes to obesity, the research is showing that children as young as 4.5 years old are being diagnosed as clinically obese when they don't have a secure attachment to their mother. Why would that happen? Well, in severe instances, it would be because of postpartum depression, which is why it is very important for you as a mom to be paying attention to how you are feeling coming up to delivery, immediately after delivery, and certainly while you're at home recovering, being mindful of how you're feeling and sharing that with those around you, particularly if you have the support to do so, because you need those people to take everything off your hands that has nothing to do with that baby, because your main priority should be to bond with your baby. When I had our oldest, my mom came to visit, shortly after I was home from the hospital. And what did I need her to do? I needed her to cook. I needed her to help tidy up after whatever messes I was making throughout the home, taking care of my son. Yes, she held my son and she bonded with him, but I needed to bond with him. And she was there to help facilitate that, because that is what is most important. Because infants who are crying, but the mom is not responsive. She's not sensitive to the fact that this child is crying, and she's not responding by trying to figure out what the baby needs. If this continues to be a pattern, this baby learns, okay, no one is going to take care of me. I am just going to be going through this on my own. And the problem is they never make a secure attachment to their mother. It's much harder for them to the longer that this goes on, because think of it as I can't depend on her. It's an insecure attachment. I'm here crying and she's not responding, or maybe somebody else does if she's not available. But if she's the one that I'm here with most of the time, she's pretty much ignoring what's happening. Maybe it's because you're completely overwhelmed and exhausted and you just want to sleep. There are a number of things that fall short of flat out, I just pretend that this child doesn't exist. But if there are significant delays in the time that you are able to get to that child and they're crying for a long time and they're worked up and agitated, these are the cues that a baby picks up on that says, okay, it's just me. I'm just here fighting for myself. And because there is no one who soothes them, there is no one who cares and meets their need and helps them to settle down, they, as they are getting older, don't learn how to settle themselves down, what we call self soothing. They have trouble doing that. The more trouble they have doing that for themselves, the more that they will find things that will help them calm down. What would they find? Maybe if they're like me, they'd find some chocolate. And yes, I have moments where I do that. But if that was my regular thing, then it would explain why I'd be larger, because I'm using food to help soothe myself, because I have never learned how to soothe myself internally, because the one who nurtures me or should be nurturing me or who's designed to nurture me didn't have the capacity to do it for whatever reason. And so I was left to figure it out for myself. And what I figured out was to put something in my mouth. Now, there are children who self soothe with their thumb or they suck their tongue or things like that. But When you get older and you're mobile and you have access to food, then you start putting food in your mouth. And if you're in a family that is already obese, then it's just part of the culture of the home. That's what they see that you do. And so once they see you doing it, they go, oh, well, that's what we do here. And so they do it as well. And if that keeps them quiet, they're allowed to do it. And the more they do it, the more overweight they become. And so that's just one way that some dysfunction in the way that your family connects with each other can show up early in childhood and be a health hazard to a child in terms of obesity, and then all the things related to obesity later on. Home is a place where your child's heart should recover from the world, not where they should learn to brace for it or run the risk of developing a long-standing disease because of the tension that exists there. And as a mom, I'm sure that you want the best for your children, but you just have no idea that the way that your family is communicating is doing far more damage than you have ever imagined. And so, if you are finding that there's a lot of tension at home, a lot of unpleasant exchanges, frequent isolation where people are staying to themselves, and if you happen to notice that your child is having a lot of physical symptoms that are not easily explained, that they are themselves withdrawn, that they don't really share much about what's going on with them, and that they just seem generally uneasy, I encourage you to sign up for the Communication Quick Fix. Communication is one of the pillars, one of the supports that keeps family dynamics functioning smoothly. And it's one way that we can quickly tackle one of the issues that might be behind the physical and mental and emotional struggles that your child is facing right now. Motherhood is hard, and sometimes you need somebody to come alongside you to tell you what you don't know, to show you what you might need to consider, to help you do the hardest job in the world that you're trying to do to the best of your ability. I'm here to help. And so if you need it, if you are concerned because of what you're seeing, and if you are realizing that your environment at home has a lot to do with it, then click the link below. I look forward to working with you. So I'm hoping now that you have an appreciation for how important it is to be mindful, to be mindful. I don't expect for you to do everything perfectly. And I'm not adding anything onto your plate because I'm a mom too. I'm not adding anything onto your plate to try to make your life miserable, nor am I trying to shame you into thinking that you are a failure. What I want you to do is, because I know that you are probably a very attentive mom and you're doing the best you can, I want you to understand other elements that you can add in and just consider things like a family dinner. And I know you are busy, like everyone else is busy, but one night a week, one night when you all gather around a table, and it's not optional. Okay? So here's where we have to remember that we are the moms, and this is our castle, and what we say goes, right? And so everyone needs to prioritize that there will be everybody agrees on the night, and on this night we all have dinner together. Dinner will be at this time. If you don't cook, that's fine. If you do cook, that'd be even better because you're communicating care. But hey, just get the food. Get the food. Try to make it as healthy as possible. But if you can't make it as healthy as possible, the point is getting around a table and eating. And soon you will see the conversation start. I've mentioned it before. It's called the Ungame. I think it's still on Amazon. It's not sponsored. It's some cards that just have topics. Some are questions, some are statements, and depending on there's like a level one and a level two. Level one is very gentle. Like what's your favorite color? Things like that. And anybody can pick a card, and sometimes the thing says just say something, just make a statement. And the beauty of the ungame is the only rule is you do not interrupt. It doesn't matter if you agree or disagree, you do not interrupt. You don't interrupt the person who is making the statement. You don't interrupt the person who is answering a question that the card asks to be asked. You let the people talk, and your job is to listen to the answer and hopefully hold on to it so that it is something that you have now gotten to know about this person that you can refer to later, that you can keep in mind and follow up later. And the people who are family, who live together, who love each other, part of a healthy family dynamic is the people in the family are invested in the family functioning well for the benefit of everyone. They're not just interested in themselves, they're interested in the family doing well, and they understand that that requires give and take. That give and take is not just about feel good, it's about your children feeling safe enough to grow, to develop, and to live healthy, well rounded lives, to be free of disease as much as possible. On that note, I want you to remember that when it comes to you being the mother of your children, you are the woman for the job. You take care of yourself and take care of your children. All right, take care.